Great. It's 3 minutes past, so let's go ahead and get started. I'm sure we'll have more people joining us shortly. Thank you all for being here this morning. Let me just go back to the title slide so you can see it again. We are here to talk about how we can work together to improve the commute on Maryland 295. My name is Finn Vigeland, and we'll do intros in a moment, but I'm really happy to have all of you here to talk a little bit about expanding transportation options and benefits to folks who live and work along the 295 corridor. If you haven't already, if you can go ahead and please introduce yourself in the chat with your name and your employer, as well as the number of employees at your work site, if that applies to your particular situation. Just to set the agenda for today, we'll start with some intros of those of us who will be speaking. We'll give a little bit of background about this project and then talk about this specific pilot project to promote all kinds of options for better commutes along Maryland 295. Then we'll talk a little bit about Commuter Choice Maryland, or CCM as we call it. This is a long-standing program of MDOT, of the Maryland Department of Transportation. And then within CCM, we'll talk about the employer partner program. And then finally, this is a workshop. We don't want to just be talking at you. We want to be talking with you. We'll have a discussion. We really want to hear from those of you who are using the 295 corridor or whose employees use the 295 corridor about what kinds of information would be more useful to you, to your employees or colleagues, to your friends who might also use this corridor. We want to know how we can help. We have a lot of resources at our disposal. So with that, let's start with some intros. I'm just going to read everybody's names and then we'll all we'll dive right into the slide. So we'll start off hearing from Joe McAndrew. Joe is the Assistant Secretary for Project Development and Delivery at MDOT. I'll be speaking after Joe. As I mentioned, my name is Finn Vigeland. I'm a project manager and senior transportation planner at Foursquare ITP. We'll also hear from Nikki Trasmonte. Nikki is the TDM, or Transportation Demand Management Coordinator at MDOT, and she works on the employer partner program of CCM. And then finally, we'll hear from Michelle Martin, who will help us facilitate the discussion at the end. Michelle is the project manager of CCM at MDOT. All right, and we have a couple of quick polls just to get a better sense of who's with us. I can see there's all sorts of intros flying in the chat, not able to see them myself right now, but starting with this first poll, we want to just get a better sense of who you are representing here today. Maybe you're just here on behalf of yourself. Maybe you are representing a private employer or business. Maybe you're here with a state or federal agency. Perhaps you're representing a local community group, or perhaps none of those categories apply, but we'd love to hear who you are, and that way we'll be able to better tailor our work over the course of this pilot. All right, I'm seeing we have right now in the lead 5 reps from state and local agencies. That's great. 3 representing private employers, 2 other, and if you selected other, we'd love to hear from you in the chat how you think you might identify. All right, and I can see the responses are still pouring in. So nice to see a range though across both the private and the public sector. This information will be equally useful to both parties. And even if you're just here on behalf of yourself, we certainly hope this information is useful to you, although we will talk a little bit about why this pilot is oriented more toward working with employers. All right, our next polling question, how many employees are at your work site? So that could, these are very crude numbers, but we just want to get a vague sense of about how many people also work on site with you. Okay, I see we have a lot of larger employers in the chat today. That's great. Wow, leading with 7 votes so far is the 50+ bucket. We should have made another bucket up top. Good to know, but that's great to see, and that's nice to know that this information could have a really, really wide-reaching impact when you share it back with all of your colleagues. Okay, I see now the smallest bucket also has a second vote. That's great. All right, please feel free to keep voting if you haven't yet voted yet, but it's really helpful for us to see the range of employers and representatives that we have here today. With that, we're going to give a little bit of background information about this project, how we wound up here, and I will turn the mic over to Joe McAndrew of MDOT. Joe.
Perfect. Fen, thank you. Thank you all for taking time to join today. My name is Joe McAndrew. I get the great honor of serving as the Assistant Secretary for Project Development and Delivery at the Maryland Department of Transportation under Governor Moore and Lieutenant Governor Miller's administration. I'm excited to be here today for a couple of reasons, but one is that, in the world of transportation and infrastructure, change oftentimes comes slowly. It takes a while to deliver projects, and those projects are oftentimes very costly. And what we might be trying to solve when they are delivered, or what we're trying to solve today, and then ultimately when they're delivered, might be very challenging. Fortunately, in terms of employer incentives and targeted transportation demand management opportunities, such as the ones that we're going to talk about today, we can deliver those overnight in relative terms at a fraction of the cost. And if we can scale at a size big enough in terms of across enough employers and employees, not only can we improve the satisfaction of the employee base or attraction and retention for employers, we can also see meaningful benefits in terms of the commute and reduce congestion and improved happiness. So I think in general, we see great opportunity here, and we're excited to work with you all to try to scale both for your own internal benefit, but also externally for better systems level travel demand. So appreciate your time. Next slide. A little bit on the background, where we're at from an MDOT and Moore Miller administration perspective. We're really focused and committed on doing our part to try to mitigate the negative impacts of transportation elements as a result of the loss of the Francis Scott Key Bridge. We are working day and night to recover and rebuild, and we won't be made whole until that bridge is open for travel. But we're having and witnessing disrupted traffic and commuting patterns that we are expecting to see at some gradient level now through when that bridge reopens. And we have a new normal, and that new normal, unfortunately, means more time. And then more time is quite challenging for families, for employers, whether it be employees or goods trying to get to sites. That comes at a cost, some direct, some indirect, and it makes it more challenging for folks to be able to access or keep a job, or employers to afford some of the elevated costs that come with commute challenges or travel challenges. Next slide. So why does it matter? I've hit on it a little bit. We understand that this is intrinsically challenging, and commuting is a near universal and daily activity that we all face, whether it be getting to a job site or school or a key community center. Increased traffic congestion adds stress for the employees, adds costs for the operations, and make it harder to ultimately achieve the mission that we're setting out to try to achieve for our employers or our public, private, nonprofit employer sector. It comes at real cost, right? Added time, added cost, as you can see in terms of estimated costs borne on the system due to congestion. Next slide. So we are committed to doing everything we can under the Moore Miller administration to keep the Baltimore region moving at this period of time when we have the loss of the Key Bridge facility, but also beyond that to make sure that we can try to improve travel conditions and make sure that we're not only ensuring that transportation is the backbone of our economy, but also an enabler for our economy to thrive. So since the Key Bridge collapse, we've done our best to provide the most accurate real-time information and adjusted operations across the system, whether it be signal timing, coordinating with our local partners, our regional partners, our federal partners. We've also provided new travel options to incent folks to be able to travel with their colleagues if they need to. Because as I see it, if we can put a few more butts in the seat that are traveling down the road, that means one fewer car. And if we can move a few percentage points, we can move from deadlock congestion to maybe a Friday summer commute. Who doesn't love a Friday summer commute? Few folks stay home, and as a result, the travel is more reliable and more efficient. Next slide. We've been having ongoing efforts, and we'll continue to have ongoing efforts to try to improve on the system as we go. This is built on a longstanding program that we have at the department. Finn touched on it, shorthand for CCM, but Commuter Choice Maryland is a tool and a resource that we have for any and all employers and employees to try to provide them the best-in-class services and resources needed for them to support their travel options, whether it be at scale for an employer or independently for an employee. While we work night and day to rebuild the bridge, we remain committed to working to improve conditions. We are doing that across a number of our modes and agencies and in close collaboration with our federal and local partners. At the MDTA, the Maryland Transportation Authority, they are doing work on the roads to try to enhance operations and ensure everybody is not weaving as much on the interstate, because that weaving actually causes delay and ultimately create for more efficient travel patterns. We're working with SHA, the State Highway Administration, to address congestion and commuting challenges throughout the Baltimore region with our county partners in terms of resourcing for signals and enhancing operational information flow. At the MTA, we're leveraging transit services that are already on the street, whether it be our MARC commuter rail, our bus operation, commuter bus, our local bus operation, as well as our light rail and subway operations, to make sure that we can try to encourage and incent more folks that are able and willing to use these transit options to get out of the congestion on our roadways as much as we can. And we're here today to really kind of try to talk to employers, because at the end of the day, whether you're a public or a private or a nonprofit employer, you need employees and goods to thrive and succeed in most realms and dimensions, including our service providers or our IT providers. So while your mission may not be transportation, at the end of the day, there's an element of transportation that you need to be worried about to make sure your employees can get there on time, your goods can get there on time, and that can be efficient for your operations, affordable for your operations. You also have an outsized influence in terms of what you can do to encourage and change patterns. And if we can scale across enough people on a corridor or regional basis, we can see those benefits at scale that will improve the traveling public and improve our economic conditions writ large. Next slide. So that gets us to why we're here. We're looking at the 295 corridor between Nursery Road and 995 for a couple of reasons. One, the amount of employers in the area. Two, the already available transit services in the area. We think that we've got a ripe opportunity to kind of work together, provide services, and make sure that we can try to scale those solutions in an economical way, but also providing real tangible benefits at an individual employee level, but ultimately at a kind of macro level, system scale level. Again, trying to provide the services to better meet the demands and the needs, serving employees and employers, and then ultimately making sure that our economy and our residents and families and employers can thrive during this tough and challenging commuting travel pattern that we have today. So that's where we're at. I'm not going to go into the weeds on it. We've got a lot of tools, a lot of incentives, a lot of resources. What I will say is you have a team of individuals ready to work hand in hand with each employer, providing the resources, the know-how, and the tools to hopefully adopt within your operation to try to encourage folks to go ahead and get out of their car, stop riding independently if they are riding solo, understanding not everybody can change patterns, but if they are able to change patterns, do their part and hopefully reduce the demands on the system and freeing up opportunities for our transportation system to move more efficiently. So I'm excited about this partnership. I'm excited about what we can do. This is a beta. I'm confident that we're going to see successes and we're going to be able to take this to other areas of the region and other areas of the state that we see kind of that perfect tangible of a density of employers and a density of transit solutions that we can actually go ahead and marry them up in an effective way. But together, I'm confident that we can see successes both on-site for our employer base, but also at a scale across the Baltimore region. So with that, I'll go ahead and hand it back to Finn to keep this operation going. But from this acting secretary, Katie Thompson, all the way up to the governor, we appreciate your time and support on this endeavor. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Joe. Thanks for setting the stage so well. We are really excited about this pilot. So we're going to dive in and tell you a bit more about what the pilot actually entails. So throughout the first half of this year, basically starting now, this is really our official kickoff. Joe was actually just on Fox Baltimore this morning to hype up this pilot. So this is the start. And over the course of the next 6 months, MDOT will promote all sorts of alternatives to driving alone through targeted outreach and resources that we will share with employers, employees, and residents who live along this corridor. The corridor is specifically defined as Maryland 295 between West Nursery Road and I-95. Broadly, anybody who feels like their employees are likely to take this road, or you know for sure that you are traveling on 295, you don't have to fall within this map. We want to make sure we are sharing resources with anybody who will benefit from them. We will talk a little bit, though, about why we picked this corridor to start off as the pilot, since we hope that this pilot is successful and we would love to spread it all around the region. But we started here with 295 for a few reasons. One is that this initiative is designed to help employers along the corridor provide best-in-class commuter benefits while also identifying which strategies have the greatest impact on congestion. And we thought 295 was particularly well suited for that. The corridor is home to a diverse mix of work sites, including schools and medical facilities that support essential services. Since the collapse of the Key Bridge, the corridor has also experienced reduced speeds. The reliability of getting from A to B has just dropped. So this felt like a good mix of workplaces and also particularly impacted by the collapse of the bridge. We also think there's a lot of potential here for converting trips from those drive alone trips to transit trips. There are a lot of transit options along the corridor that might serve as suitable alternatives for some people. We also know that MDOT has adjusted construction schedules, modified traffic patterns, and introduced those new incentives that Joe mentioned earlier to help ease congestion and improve safety. So it was a perfect storm of factors that led us to 295. Of course, MDOT's goal is to improve commutes everywhere. So if you feel like you fall a little bit outside of this corridor, that's okay, and we do want to connect you with resources, but the focus of our pilot will really be on reaching even more employers and employees who use this corridor to get to work. So what is this whole pilot about? There are two focuses, as I just said. We are providing free support for employers to establish or to improve their already established commuter benefit programs. We also will do targeted outreach to employees, including giving them resources and sharing incentives that basically help encourage travelers along the corridor to try out other options besides driving alone. Those options might include transit, carpooling or vanpooling, biking, and walking. So the two-pronged effort, both so that the employer improves the benefits that they're offering and the information that they're sharing to their employees, but we'll also do direct targeted outreach to employees so that they're aware of what their options entail. Ultimately, our goals are to increase engagement with all of you, with all of the employers, registration and participation in a number of different programs that we'll talk about in a few slides, and broadly to encourage shifts in travel behavior. And what we hope to see at the end of the pilot is essentially maximum efficiency of the existing transportation system and the existing assets. We know there's too much congestion on 295, and there is available capacity in a number of other modes, as I mentioned, transit, carpooling, biking, etc. So we want to readjust that balance. Hopefully that then leads to reduced congestion on 295. It improves our quality of life through lower vehicle emissions and just less time waiting in traffic. And then on the other side of it, we want to wrap up everything that we've heard from you. We want to process the lessons learned and share that out with other employers, maybe those already along 295 who we weren't able to reach in this pilot, but other employers across the region as well, along other corridors. Maybe these strategies can be successful elsewhere too. So what does it actually entail to participate in this pilot? So I'm going to go through 6 steps here. One, and I think most of you have already done it, is sharing your name and employer in the chat. So thanks for already taking step 1. You are 18% of the way there. We would love to have you attend these monthly workshops with other employers along the corridor. Our plan is to hold these on the 4th Tuesday of the month, I believe at 2 p.m. And these are really meant to be interactive. We want to hear from you about what's working, what isn't working. That will really allow us to help shape our efforts and develop, new material. We could go build a new brochure. We could come plan an event with you. And so these are some of the essentially additional items on this list. But starting with the workshops, that's how we'll know how to better serve you. The next step after this workshop is that we will reach out to you to set up an intro meeting with MDOT to discuss your worksite and what commuter benefits might be right for you. Even if you already have a longstanding sort of established commuter benefits program, or if you're just looking to get started, doesn't matter where you are on the process, we are here to help. And my colleague, Nikki, who will speak after me, will be the person leading most of those intros. So look out for her. Ultimately, we hope that if you are an employer, you are here to commit to promoting even more benefits to your employees. And you will work with us to conduct a survey to your employees at the start and at the end of the pilot, so we can judge how much new information has been shared with your employees and whether any changes in behavior have actually been realized. Finally, we hope you'll share feedback with us, share the results of any successful efforts or any unsuccessful efforts. Those are helpful to know about too, and ultimately lessons learned so that we can continue to improve this program and take it on to other corridors. Throughout all of this, you may go above and beyond. You may help plan an event with us. You may help plan a webinar with us. There's a lot more that we can do, but we hope that you'll commit to these 6 steps right here. And at the end, we will give you an employer partner badge to share on your website. We'll advertise your successes through MDOT marketing. We want to highlight you as somebody who's, as an employer that's really doing its part to help alleviate congestion on 295. All right, and with that, I'll turn it over to my colleague, Nikki. All yours, Nikki.
Thank you, Finn, for the introduction. So I will be sharing about our Commuter Choice Maryland program. And just like Finn said, I am the point of contact for this project. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask me directly. Next slide, please. So just to give everyone a background of Commuter Choice Maryland, we were relaunched in 2018 as the free statewide program under the Maryland Department of Transportation. Our main goal is to shift a significant share of single occupancy vehicle drivers or people driving alone to other modes of transportation. So that's anything from using transit, carpooling, vanpooling, and more. So we also work with employers, kind of like what Finn said, to set up commuter benefits. So you can also receive incentives and recognition all for free. So we also provide information to encourage the public to use better commuting options. So a big part of our outreach efforts have been focused on education as well. Next slide, please. So this is just a quick snapshot of all of our programs, which can all be found on commuterchoicemaryland.com. For anyone who's interested in registering for our programs, you can actually go to baltimorecommutes.org, which I will drop in the chat. You can register for a Commuter Connections account to sign up. Just so I can point out a couple of programs. We just recently launched the Ride Together Rewards program, which is a vanpool, carpool, and transit program for the greater Baltimore region. And I'll share more about our Fair Share program as well. So next slide, please. So now we're going to discuss our employer partner program and the role of our employers who are interested in participating. So next slide, please. So why do we focus on employers? Employers have a lot of influence over how people get to work. So when you offer commuter benefits and actually talk about them with your staff, it makes it easier for employees to choose different ways to commute other than driving alone. So that's why we're here to help. We work with employers of all sizes to promote commuter benefits programs at your worksite to either save money in some cases, or you can also earn a higher employee satisfaction and retention rate. Next slide, please. So how do we help employers? So we can help employers over numerous ways. We can offer personalized support. So that could be from a commuter choice specialist, which would be myself, or our local contacts as well. We can also help you assess your employees' commuting needs. So we can conduct survey support, etc. We also offer incentives for you to save money in terms of our tax credit, which I will go into more depth about shortly. And we also have a list of resources for you to utilize on our website. Next slide, please. Okay, so I'd like to introduce our employer partner program further. By participating in this pilot, you will be automatically added to our employer partner program. As we work with individual employers, we can conduct employee surveys to assess how your employees commute. And what motivates their transportation choices. We also offer webinars and commuter benefits support, as well as additional tools and resources for your staff. Next slide, please. Okay, so to go more in depth, our employer partner benefits include free program support. So like I mentioned, we can conduct surveys. If you want to discover where your employees are commuting from as well, we can help you do that. You can also get statewide recognition and exposure. So you can be part of our MDOT Commuter Choice Maryland network, as well as be featured on our website or in different employer partner testimonials that we have called spotlight articles and more. You can also save money. So that can be relieving tax burdens for your organization through our Maryland Commuter Tax Credit or through the Federal Transportation Fringe Benefit as well. And lastly, you can also have recruitment and retention. So I know for many people, commuting is a main indicator of job satisfaction. So we can really help you build commuter benefits to attract and keep your employees. So next slide, please. So just to talk about some different approaches to commuter programs, I'm going to give some examples for our employers on the workshop. The first example is commuter-friendly policies. So we can help you establish a policy like a telework policy, for example, or a compressed work week if that's something you're interested in doing. We can also help with on-location amenities. So some employers are interested in amenities like bike parking or shower facilities for their staff, as well as a transportation service. So there can be an employer-run transportation service like campus shuttles, carpool programs to really help your staff get to work, as well as employer-paid direct benefits. So that can be an employer subsidy. So for example, as an employer, if you're interested in having a transit pass for your staff, You can also save as well through the tax credit. And lastly, employee paid pre-tax benefits. So that would be a portion of the employee's income pre-tax that can go towards a transit pass, for example. Next slide, please. And just to give everyone more background, we also have financial incentives, which I touched a little bit about. First, we have the Maryland Commuter Tax Credit. So for any employer that is providing an eligible commuter subsidy, so for example, let's say you're providing a transit pass for your staff, you can actually earn tax credit savings of 50%. So that is up to $1,200 per employee per year. So it is a good amount of savings, as well as there's the federal tax-free commuter benefits. So employers could receive payroll tax savings of $340 per employee per year for also eligible commuter subsidies. And lastly, we have the new Baltimore Transit Incentive Program, the Fair Share Program for employers in the greater Baltimore region that have accessibility to MTA services like the MARC or commuter bus. They're eligible to get up to $3,000 to offset transit fare media. So it's a really great incentive program that we recently launched and we're promoting right now. Next slide, please. So I'd like to also highlight how we can really highlight our employer partners through spotlight articles and testimonials. So you can see this example is some of our employer spotlights we've done for our partners like US Pharmacopoeia or UMBC. So it's a great way for us to kind of celebrate what you're doing for your staff. Next slide, please. So I'd like to introduce our guest employer speaker here today, a part of the 295 corridor. Erin McGinnis is the HR director at Holly Poultry, a further processing company in Baltimore. She joined the company in 2020 and supports a workforce of more than 500 employees, most of whom work on site. Erin partners with leadership on hiring, employee relations, and day-to-day HR operations, with a focus on maintaining a strong workplace culture. So Holly Poultry continues to grow with a new retail campus in Hanover, Maryland, while the Baltimore location remains the food service campus. So Erin, if you'd like to take it away and talk about your experience with us, that'd be great.
Thanks, Nikki. I appreciate it. And thanks for having me. Like Nikki mentioned, I'm Erin McGinnis. I am the HR director at Holly Poultry. I've been with Holly Poultry since February of 2020, so almost coming up on 6 years. We are supporting over 500 employees, and like Nikki mentioned, most of our workforce is hourly and on-site, which means reliable commuting is a big part of daily life for our team. Like Nikki mentioned, we are a further processing poultry company based in Baltimore. So our Baltimore location services our food service campus, where we partner with customers like Raising Cane's, Royal Farms, and Nando's. And because so much of our operation happens on site, anything that helps make commuting easier and more reliable really matters to us. And as part of our continued growth, we have expanded into the retail segment. We will be opening a new retail campus in Hanover, Maryland, which we're expected to open in March. Which will focus on our retail brands. So if you picture the refrigerator section of a grocery store where you see trays of fresh chicken, that's where you'll find our retail brands, One Fine Chicken and Easy Street. So we have been participating in the Commuter Choice program for many years. It was actually already in place when I joined in 2020. That was back when we were still using paper tickets, so we've come a long way. And part of my role when I joined in 2020 was just taking ownership of the day-to-day pieces. So making sure that employees knew the benefit existed, understood how to enroll, and also to make sure that they had access to the right resources through the Commuter Choice program. And for us, one of the reasons the program works so well is that it isn't something that we just mention once and move on. We make sure to keep it visible, so we talk about it during onboarding, we include it in reminders, especially in our monthly newsletter, and we make it easy for employees to ask any questions and get signed up. And we also make sure that it aligns with our attendance expectations. So employees that stay in good standing each month are eligible for the transit pass. So the commuter benefit is widely used at Holly. So we distribute well over 100 passes each month. And from an HR standpoint, we've seen a lot of practical benefits. One, as Nikki mentioned, which is super important, is the attendance and reliability. So when employees have a consistent, supported way to get to work, we see fewer last-minute transportation issues, and attendance is more predictable. Also, another benefit is recruitment and retention. So this is a real tangible benefit for our hourly roles. And being able to tell candidates that we can help with your commute removes a barrier, and it helps us stay competitive in the marketplace. Plus, it's a huge cost savings to employees. And then there's also the operational benefit. So as you can imagine, with over 500 employees, parking is in high demand. So it's great that we're able to support employees choosing transit, and it also takes the pressure off of parking on site at our operation. And from an administrative standpoint, the electronic passes through Charm Pass has really simplified things for us. So it's super easy to manage, super easy to distribute. And the team has been great. So they're very easy to work with. If we ever need to add an employee or troubleshoot an issue, they're very responsive and always help to resolve things quickly. And of course, on the financial side, like Nikki mentioned, the Maryland commuter tax credit. So that's been helpful as well. It's helped offset some of the cost of providing the benefit and reduces our tax liability. So it's a win-win. It's great for the employees, and it's also great for the business as well. So overall, our experience with the program has been well used. It supports our workforce in a very practical way and helps us in areas that matter to all employers, and that's the attendance and reliability, the recruitment and retention, and day-to-day operations. So that's a snapshot from Holly Poultry. I'm happy to answer any questions. I think Nikki is going to be sharing my contact information, so please feel free to shoot me an email or give me a call, and I'd be happy to answer any further questions.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Erin. It's really great to hear how successful all of these different programs have been for you. And I think the thing I really want to highlight is that it's not just one thing, right? It's not just making sure people have transit passes. It's not just the commuter benefits or the tax incentive, the tax credit. There's so many different layers to this. It's making sure people are aware of it during the hiring process. So I love what a sort of all-inclusive, all hands on deck program it is, and it's great to hear that it's been so successful. All right, that brings us into our facilitated discussion. So I want to thank all of our speakers, and just to get everybody moving, we are going to start off with our last poll. So you heard Nikki talk a little bit about a variety of commuter benefits that are available to you and that she can work with you to set up. Those broad categories were, commuter-friendly policies like telework, on-location amenities such as bike parking, an employer-run transportation service like a shuttle or a facilitated carpool program, employer-paid benefits, and then also the ability for employees to pay for benefits pre-tax. So we would love to hear which of these you are already offering, or if you're representing yourself, which of these your employer is already offering. It's always helpful for us just to have a sense as to what resources are already out there. I think we'll share that poll in a moment.
Okay, I just launched the poll. It should be loading.
Great. Thanks, Nikki. Oh, and I think these might be, of course, you might offer more than one. So I think if you do offer more than one, pick whichever one you think has been most successful. And we'll certainly intake this information when you meet with Nikki to get started with this program. So please keep voting, but I want to move us into a discussion. Again, this really is a workshop. We do really want to hear from you because this is a brand new pilot. There are a lot of different directions we could go in, and we want to make sure it really works for all of you. So what would be most useful for us to start off is to hear from all of you what you hear most from your employees about their commuting challenges. Everybody should have the ability to turn on or off their mic. I did see some people saying they were only able to respond via chat. So of course, don't hesitate just to answer in the chat. But if you are able to use the raise hand feature, please feel free to do so. We would love to hear from you. So again, what are some of the most common commuting challenges you hear about from your employees? Yes, I'll go to Layla.
I was just going to share that I think our biggest concern is the congestion, like the traffic, like people who live in White Marsh that come, we work at the MBA in Glen Burnie. It can range between 45 minutes to 2 hours to get to work or to come home. And so like now people time it. They're like, I'm leaving at 3. I'll flex my time and work the rest of my day at home just to avoid the traffic.
Yeah, that tracks. I'm glad to hear that you have a flex program that allows people to adjust their hours as need be. But yes, the variability of traffic is a big one. Anything else that people feel like is really top of mind?
Well, Finn, I'm just going to add that I know I've heard a lot of people say that they would take transit more if they had a guaranteed ride home. And I know we didn't mention it today, but there is a guaranteed ride home out there. And that's just one of the many programs that we can help guide employers and to help the employees know that they can participate and register for if they take, transit or carpool or vanpool at least twice a week. So I just wanted to share that because that's an issue that I know we hear often at the Commuter Choice Maryland program. So I don't know if anyone wants to add any color or flavor to that or any other comments they've heard from their employees across their agency or organization. Good question. Is guaranteed ride home also available for those who bicycle or walk? And I believe the answer is yes, but I can certainly look into that because I haven't been asked that question before. Oh, Kirby said it is.
Okay,
thank you,
great.
Kirby, for clarifying. I thought it was, but I didn't want to definitively say if I wasn't 100% sure.
Anybody at an employer who publicizes the availability of guaranteed ride home? Yeah, I'm seeing from Sharon. Yeah, definitely sounds like something that could use even more publicity and marketing, and that's part of what this effort is about. We want to know where the needs are and how we can better connect the already existing resources to those unmet needs. Very often, I believe there may already be a program that suits those needs, but it's just about making that link, making sure that information flow is available. So yeah, Kirby's dropped a link in the chat to more information about it. But one of the things that we want to work with you on when you set up a meeting with Nikki is to identify sort of that full suite of what are your needs? What do you already offer? And what additional information would be useful? And if the format or the medium of that information could be improved, then we want to know that so that we can help you market it better to your employees.
Oh, and I also just like to add that if an employer is interested in like establishing their own guaranteed ride home program, we can help you with that. And then you can also claim the Maryland commuter tax credit as well. So I kind of just sent a brochure of the different examples of different subsidies that would be included in the tax credit.
I
I'll
know
jump to
some
the.
folks are saying that they don't have access to turn their mic on. I know we gave access to everyone, but sometimes Teams is funny that way. So
Yeah.
please continue to put your comments in the chat, and we will have a live conversation with everyone as a follow-up when Nikki schedules time to meet with them. I just thought while people are thinking about what they're hearing from their employees and any challenges they might want to add to this conversation, you heard Joe and Finn and Nikki all talk about these new incentives. And if you don't know what they are, because we didn't really go into a lot of detail with those, that you can earn, your employees can earn, you as an employee can earn up to $5 a day for 3 months to carpool. We also have a vanpool program, which is $500 a month towards the vanpool rental. These are really amazing incentives that we brought to bear because of the collapse of the Key Bridge and because we really wanted to provide opportunities for everyone to try different things, because we know it's not always easy to try new things, but you might find that you can do them once or twice a week, and they might be really good solutions for you or your colleague, or you and your colleague. And then there's also the transit incentive, which we did talk a little bit about. We talked about the Fair Share program, which is for employers, but there's also a transit incentive for new transit riders when they register as a new transit rider through the Charm Pass app. They can actually get a pack of free transit passes to try transit in the Baltimore region. So I just wanted to kind of put a little bit of information around those new incentives and new options. I see a few more chat items in here.
Yeah, so the discussion that we're having right now is about making sure we are equipping anyone who ideally works, but also lives along the MD, Maryland 295 corridor with all of these options. So this is about making sure you're aware of that tax credit for employers. You're aware about those free charm passes, about the tools that we have to connect people to other carpoolers. So I see another comment about the difficulty of finding carpoolers. That's, there's a ride matching tool that we can work with you on. Michelle, you also mentioned carpool and vanpool. Could you clarify the difference between those two modes?
Yep, carpooling is you're carpooling in your own vehicle with a colleague, a family member, or somebody you find on the ride matching tool. It generally is like in that 2 to 3, sometimes up to 4 carpoolers. A vanpool is when you're generally working with a vendor to rent a van, and you have usually in the neighborhood of 4 to 7 passengers in that van pool, and you share the cost, you share the driving. You're all generally heading in the same direction, and you meet at a park and ride, or you meet at 1 or 2 locations along the journey to get to work. And that I think that probably explains it a little bit. We can certainly get into more detail in follow-up conversations, but that's a good question, Finn. And I can put the ride matching tool in the chat as well, because that really is a great tool just for anyone, right? And I'll put that in there, but it's through the baltimorecommutes.org website with our partners at the Commuter Connections program in the DC region, where we partner on lots of awesome, amazing resources and tools. I don't see any more on the first question, Finn, if you want to go to the second one. I know.
Yeah, I think, well, this is tied to it. What are the greatest needs that you think we can help fulfill? What are some of the needs that your employees may have related to commuter benefits, or just in general around getting to work? It might be something that we mentioned in this presentation, or it might be something else altogether. But what are some of the largest needs that we could help fill?
I see some needs as we'd love some help with flyers to get information out about guaranteed ride home and other incentive programs, and that's something we can definitely provide. We can also do lunch and learns with your company or agency to help people understand the different options. We can come and sit at a table and answer questions during like lunch or other times of the day. I
Yeah,
see
and
some
just adding
interest in
to what Michelle said, we can also do a lot of travel training. So a lot of people sometimes are just more wary of using transit, so we can help kind of guide you through that process as well.
Yeah, so moving on to the third and fourth bullets, if there are any specific types of events or promotions or marketing that you can think of, please feel free to shout it out right now, or if you want to confer with some colleagues and get back to us. This is, and yes, I see Earth Day in the chat. We absolutely want to do a lot of events and outreach around Earth Day. That's a time of year when people give a little bit more careful thought to how they get around and to other alternatives to driving alone. So we absolutely are planning to do some events through that. And we want to partner with all of you. This, again, the purpose of this pilot is to really target our efforts to employers along the 295 corridor. I know there are a lot of business parks, particularly down closer to BWI. If there's something where we can work with you and other adjacent employers to try to coordinate something there, I feel like there's a lot of potential for that kind of outreach. So if you have the connection to the manager of the business park, or if you know that we could just set something up in your lobby, we would absolutely love to partner with you on that. So we really hope that over the course of the next month, as we set up these individual meetings with all of you and get a sense as to what you already offer and what your greatest needs are, you'll think through all of these ways that we might be able to really customize our assistance for you. This is, as you heard from Joe at the beginning, a huge focus of MDOT's right now. It's really important to us that this corridor that has seen a lot of challenges, especially post Key Bridge collapse, that we use all of the resources at our disposal to try to make it easier for everyone. So I'm going to move forward just as a reminder of this slide I showed earlier that says the sort of 6 things that we ask of you if you want to work with us throughout this pilot. 1 is already done. I think basically everybody, it seems like, shared your name and employer in the chat. If for some reason you weren't able to access the chat, I think everybody should have been able to. But if you didn't leave your name yet, or if you didn't want to share it publicly, Nikki can leave her email address in the chat, and you can feel free to reach out to her there, and we'll also show it on the very last slide. The other steps are to attend these monthly workshops on the 4th Thursday of the month, to set up an introductory meeting with folks from MDOT and from CCM. Nikki will take the lead on those. Ultimately, to commit to promoting even more commuter benefits to your employees. To administer a survey. We've already developed a survey. We just want you to share it out with your employees at the beginning and at the end of this pilot, so we can gauge how much all of our efforts have actually been successful. And then throughout the process, to share all sorts of feedback and lessons learned with us, so that we can continue to improve. So the pilot runs for 6 months. Again, really, this is basically the kickoff now. So 6 months from now takes us to the end of July. We hope that we will be able to work with you throughout this and work with your employees and continue to educate everyone on all of the many ways that commutes on 295 can be even better. As I mentioned, we have these monthly workshops. We'll provide you the surveys. We're happy to work with you to set up events at your work site and to provide you with marketing and outreach materials. You can see a snapshot of all sorts of different events and giveaways that we have in our arsenal. Okay, last point. I think I've kind of already stressed this, but just to put it all down, we're going to distribute a survey in the chat, and I have it. I have it pulled up in another window. One moment. We'll distribute the survey in the chat in a moment, and that will give us just a little bit more information that will be helpful for us. Here's the link to the survey now. You will meet likely with Nikki or one of our local coordinators. I see there's, I believe some may be on the call right now. If you are one of the local rideshare coordinators, if you want to just wave in the chat, that would be great. And again, we'll take stock of what benefits you already offer, learn more about your work site, and share the survey and marketing with you. Save the date for our next workshop, Tuesday, February 24th at 2 p.m. And these are really working meetings to share what we've been learning and how we can help each other, and start thinking about how we can partner with you on an event. And if you think there's anyone else who's not here today who would benefit from this, we want to help them too. So think through if you have any professional colleagues or worksite neighbors that would be would benefit from this. We'd love to connect with them as well. And we're basically out of time, and I think we covered questions. So I'm just going to end on our contact information. Please do keep in touch with us. Here's our email, our phone, our website, and our social media. This was really great to hear from all of you. And yeah, special thanks to Erin for presenting on all the work that she's done at Holly Poultry. It's great to see all of that in action. And
Ben, I just wanted
yes.
to add that we're here to make it easy for everyone to partner.
Yeah.
We're going to make sure we provide all the resources and surveys and tools, and we're going to meet with you and be there every step of the way. So I hope everyone will feel comfortable to continue on this pilot and share any colleagues or partners at agencies or businesses in your neighborhood along the 295 corridor that we can partner with. We just think this is such a great opportunity to work together and make a difference. So look forward to continuing working with everyone.
Yeah. Thanks, Michelle. Thanks, everybody. Thanks to all of our speakers, and thanks to all of you for joining. Please do reach out. Please do take that survey. We'll follow up with you, and we're really excited to partner with you on this pilot. Thanks so much, and we'll definitely see you at the next workshop, February 24th. All right, take care, everybody. See you soon.
Thank you.
Thanks all.